Hey, you see that guy right there? Yeah, that's me. I bet you're wondering why I'm getting choked out on an open mat right now. Well, it all started when I woke up and realized, dang, I need to be more brave. That way I can instantly take on all of life's challenges without overthinking, getting anxious, or procrastinating. And as far as I saw it, the fastest way to do that was by becoming an invincible freaking unit. And that's when I found it. Krav Maga, an Israeli martial art credited to being the deadliest in the world. I figured that if I could master it, the secret to bravery would be in the palm of my hand. And after hours of diligent searching online, I decided that Lions Krav Maga would be the perfect place to learn, because the head instructor had a really sick mustache. I mean, look at this guy and tell me he doesn't know how to throw hands. This was going to be a challenge like no other, and to top it all off, I was going to be wearing a 30-pound vest. Why? Why don't you just watch the video and find out, you impatient? Walking into the gym, my bravery was instantly tested as the receptionist immediately made me start signing papers. But I wasn't nervous at all. I kept my cool. You're absolutely positive I'm gonna be safe.
I can't say that for certain. That would be a risk on my part. But we're gonna try and not let you get hurt, man.
That was all the reassurance I needed to take this challenge head on. But before I headed straight into the action, I needed to learn a little bit more about what I was getting into. What is Krav Maga? Luckily, the lead instructor, Jason Fryer, was there to answer my questions. And he's a fan of the videos.
Yeah, I've been looking at your videos. You sent the video over about you and the dean. Great.
Ah, they watch my videos. Absolutely. Great. That puts me at ease. Good. Knowing that you guys are fans of my videos, I won't get out here killed.
That's fair. We don't generally kill anybody, especially not on a Saturday.
Did y'all just hear that? He's so nice. Wow.
So if you could describe Krav Maga to someone who's never tried it before, sure, what would you explain to them?
Look, the biggest thing with Krav Maga is it's a self-defense.
Right.
So our goal is to make sure you can defend yourselves
right,
if something happens outside of the gym.
Right.
We fight with our hands, we fight with our legs, we fight on the ground if we have to.
So it's kind of like a mixed martial arts?
Very much a similar idea, just with a self-defense angle.
So let's say that like I'm at a bar at night, 3 dudes come up on me. I take 3 months of Krav Maga. Am I alright?
You should leave. You should not fight 3 people at the same time. In general, don't pick a fight with 3 guys.
Sounds good.
I was ready. It was time I begun the open mat training with instructor Katie Fryer. Although I felt somewhat heavy from the extra weights on my body, the path to bravery was opening up right before me. As I moved forward and put my ashy feet on the mat, Katie began to show me her first killer technique.
This leg is here flat on the floor.
Got you.
This knee goes across like a seatbelt. Okay?
Okay.
There. I'll make it work. Okay.
It was finally my turn to try out the technique, but I soon realized it was a little bit harder than expected.
Maybe you can drop your feet. Like, leg. This. Pull forward and kick your legs.
Wrong way?
Yeah, you got it.
Ooh.
I did it. I was a Krav Maga master. It was time I showed the rest of these chumps what I was made of in the next training exercise. The goal was to practice maneuvering around your opponent. Although instructor Katie made it extremely clear this wasn't a fight, I couldn't help myself but to see it as a psychological battle for dominance. Ooh, lucky shot? But it was not a lucky shot. Over and over and over, every one of the people I practiced with didn't hesitate to flip me on my back. Even if I was 3 times the size of them, they choked me out with vigor. My force and my strategy seemed to just make everything worse. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us back to where we started. Humbled, humiliated, but most of all, invigorated. I wanted to keep trying because I knew the secret to bravery wasn't found in just giving up. Humiliated or not, there was something to learn, and I had to keep going until it all clicked. And that's when it happened.
Alright, now I'm gonna have to close your eyes.
Close my eyes?
This made me a little worried. Like, yo, getting folded with my eyes open is one thing. Now you expect me to do it in the dark? But although my eyes were closed, things felt clear. As I became more in tune with my body, the inner panic, judgment, and discomfort I felt ceased to exist. There was power in this feeling, which helped me to take more control throughout the exercise. I still got folded plenty of times, but I felt less judgmental of myself as it happened. But this couldn't be, right? I mean, it's the deadliest martial art in the world. How could it make me feel peaceful? Well, After finishing the open mat training, instructor Katie was open to having a discussion.
What made you want to start Krav Maga?
Okay, so
She told me a story about getting stranded in a desert town without any means of communication, and how her desire to go on an adventure with a group of guys she had met there was ultimately triumphed by her fear, which led her to feel
really mad
at who?
at the world. I was like, as a woman, you are at the whim of men. Like, hey, do what I want because I am limited so severely by feeling like prey. I made that promise to myself that I wouldn't feel like that again. And I started doing Krav Maga.
I was inspired by her story and how the gym in and of itself was designed to be an inclusive space for anyone that felt the same way she did.
In my first class, I was so nervous. I was so nervous, I cried. It was really,
Look
really
at you
nervous.
now.
Well,
You're teaching the class. You're the coach.
Yeah.
You built the whole entire gym. But even more than inspired, I was curious. Curious to knowing if her journey had led her to being the invincible unit that I sought out to be. The answer was shocking.
In the first couple of years that you train, there is a really quick ramp towards feeling a lot more empowered, a lot safer. And then after that, you start becoming acquainted with what real violence looks like, and it gets scary. What we were doing in there, well, we were going like 10, 15%, right?
Yeah, 10, 15.
Yeah, when you go 100%, like, it gets real.
My reality was instantly shattered. I mean, what's the point of mastering the world's deadliest martial art if it didn't make you feel like the Hulk?
And there's no way that we can prevent suffering entirely, like for our own selves. We can try to reduce it.
But as I reflected on the feeling I had during the open mat training and listened to more of what Katie had to say, I realized that I may have been looking for bravery in the wrong place.
Krav Maga, so that one may walk in peace. And that's what it's all about. You aren't gonna find peace just because you're like some Billy badass, like walking down the street and you're like, I'd kill anybody. That's not real peace. Peace is when you accept that like you have done what you can, and now you are choosing mindfully to not spend 100% of your day just training for the worst case scenario.
My mind was made up. I decided to shift my focus from being an invincible unit to being one that could walk in peace. That could be the secret to bravery. But to be sure, I had to put my ashy feet on that mat once again and get choked out. Enter Krav Maga 1 with Jason Fryer. We started to work on practicing our strikes, and during this process, Jason made it extremely clear.
This is self-defense, it's not boxing, it's not kickboxing, it's not sparring, right? We're not gonna bounce around in front of the person and like, oh, I got you, right?
Through this process, we practiced giving hits, taking hits, all in an effort to understanding the aggression needed to handle these situations in real life. It was fun, and Jason was a really good motivational speaker.
Go, choke somebody out. Don't actually choke right.
Next, we moved on to practicing holds. Shout out to this guy for giving me the tips on how to choke him out properly. During this process, I started to reflect on why I started this journey in the first place. In my last video, I opened up about being a little bit scared to take on life after college. Challenges are bound to come my way, and I know that if I'm to succeed in the way that I want to, I'm gonna have to take on a lot of them instinctively with boldness. But the weird thing about instincts is that they're subconscious, built into us through emotional habits throughout the years. And on top of that, it's the instincts we don't like that can halt us right in our tracks, like fear. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible to overcome the weight of fear through sheer willpower alone, but that is courage. And although it's valuable, I don't always want to have to fight my instincts in order to get stuff done, to carry the weight of fear. I want my body, mind, and soul to be on the same page when taking on a challenge, and that is what I believe bravery to be. But how can I bring all of those things together in harmony? Well, after Krav Maga 1 was done, Jason was the only one I could get an answer from. Bars.
What brought you into Krav Maga in general?
I picked up Krav Maga about 17, 18 years ago, looking for a way to be more relaxed, just be more calm.
Right.
It was learning this about Jason I started to understand the value behind the Krav Maga training, going throughout it myself and feeling that same sense of calmness he talked about.
So would you say that like your discipline in this has like given you a sense of peace?
Absolutely. I'm trying to get you to that point where you work so hard that you end up home.
It was Jason's disciplined approach to Krav Maga that made this piece possible for him. I had to know more about it, but not after I tried one more time to master Krav Maga.
This works great. Actually opening the hand and hitting with the palm also works really well.
Okay.
And this works really well because if I'm hitting something really hard, I don't want to break my hands.
Right.
So I'm talking about self-defense, this idea of driving out as I throw the strike.
Now, on a side note, although I haven't really talked too much about Krav Maga itself, I find the philosophy of giving yourselves options to safely exit situations to be a lot more layered than just beating the ever-loving crap out of your assailant. Jason made it very clear that your #1 priority should be to just get out of the situation in general.
Right. You're looking over there. Look, I can absolutely run away.
Right.
I can call 911 at this point. I can call a buddy.
But anyway, knowing that discipline was the final piece of the puzzle I needed, I only had one more question to ask Jason.
What's one thing that you've learned from Krav Maga that you think that you can take into your life in terms of discipline?
The more you train, the calmer you are. The more I train under stress levels, and the more tense I get, the more I train that out of me, and the more I do it, the less tense I am everywhere else.
Right.
Everything else gets calmer.
Right.
And honestly, that's the biggest piece. That's overall the biggest piece.
So, at the end of the day, was I able to become a Krav Maga master? No.
Did y'all not see the way that they're doing me on that mat?
However, I realized that the secret to bravery is really just peace. And the more you dwell in it, work in it, and discipline yourself to attaining it, the more likely it is for that bold instinct to take over when the time comes. So thanks, Instructor Jason and Instructor Katie. Your gym lives up to its name. Hopefully next time, I can live up to some lotion. My name is FitZanime. Live in love, be brave, and have a good day. Peace.